Now we'll take up the concept in the module 2. In the module 1, we have studied about the structure of the HTML and a few tags that are required to create one HTML document. The basic tags and all we have studied. In the second module, we have form control elements. These form control elements are very much required to create one web page. The basic tags, what are the basic fields, what and all, which are required to enter some information or to create one complete form. Those things we are studying in this session. The basic common form control elements are we need to enter. We have already seen some web pages and we are making use of those web pages. In those web pages, we have some content, that is the basic content, that is you have to enter some, it will ask to enter some data. It has to ask to submit some button. It has to enter some part. It will ask to enter some password and all. So how to create, how, if you are logging, you are going to log in for some page, the basic fields what and all you can see, that is it will ask the username, it will ask to enter the password, that too the password is in the hidden format. Then below that you can see some button to click on that button. Yeah, so then it will redirect to the some other page. So some, these are some basic fields you will keep on seeing while entering some form, or you want to log into some page and all. So here, suppose for example, if you are a student, if you are filling some student form in the sense, so it will ask to the web page in that form. It will ask to enter your name, parents' name, then your date of birth, the whether it's a male or a female, then some address to write, some comments to be given based on that form. So then finally we'll enter the submit or the submit button or the clear button or reset button. You have seen all these things. So just you will open that form and you are keep entering those data and you are clicking on the submit button. So, but how to get those forms, how to create those forms, that we need to understand using these elements. So these are the basic fields, that is the text we need. It has to create one input box where the user can enter something. Then how to create, we have already in the previous session we have already discussed how to create the one HTML document. So that is with the proper structure, how to follow the structure, how to include what and all the contents we need to include inside the head part and the body part of the HTML and all. So in this also what the form controls you are studying in this session, these form elements also should be included within the body of the HTML. The first field what we are discussing is the text. How you will get the text box? As I already told, in the login page, it will ask user ID. Then in front of that, you will see one text box. So there, what you will enter your username. So how to get that part? That is using the what, the field, the tag name called as the input. So what is the syntax we need to follow? Open with the angular bracket, write the tag name, that is the input, then followed with attributes. So what are the attributes you can keep for the input box? You need to keep it as the type. Type is the attribute for the input tag. So what is the type of that data you need to enter? That is the text data. So you have to enter the text into that box. So it is a text, it should be always valid, should be within the double quotes. Then you can give some, you can assign some name for the text box also. So the name you can give whatever the name you want. So title I'm giving it based on the user, it depends upon the particular user, can give any name. Then id also can be generated, the unique id also can be generated for every input field, so to access the data. So in the third module in this, while studying about the javascript, so at that time we'll come to know what is the advantage of creating the id for every field. So that and all we'll study later. Then if you type these line in the body of the HTML, you'll get one text box. So if you want to give the name for this, so if you give the input tag, if you use the input tag, you will get the input box. But beside that box, you need to give some name. Then only you'll understand, you need to enter some data related to that name. So if you see username, then you will understand the user name we have to enter. If it is a password, then you will understand I need to enter the password in this box, like that. So then you can use the label tag to give the label for this. Otherwise, before going with this input box, okay, you can give the username or password, then you start with the angular bracket, then also you will get. Because it is an HTML document, this will not, here it is not necessary to form a strict rule. Okay, so these are all the things will be adjustable, acceptable. So then it is a text area. Text area is what it is. What is the difference between text and text area? Text input box, there will be a maximum size will be there for the input box, okay, because it will take some standard size will be there, only 20 characters or 25 characters only it will accept that. But in the text, only one box will be visible, only one box you can see, input box. But the text area is nothing but the wider box you'll get. If you create the text area, the wider box than the text box you'll get, you can create. So the text area, when it will be, when you have seen these type of boxes, suppose you need to enter the address, residential address or college address, or you want to give some comment to some forms or some workshops you have attended, suppose. So we will tell to give the feedback. So if that is the case, at the end you will see one white box to give the comment, to give the feedback, to write something about this workshop. So then it will be, we can enter so many sentences into that. So that will be, in that time you can go with the text area. So the tag name is what, it's a text area. You need to give the rows and columns. So how many rows you want, rows you want, if you want very wider box, you can go with 10 rows, 10, 12 rows, like that. So if it is depends upon that requirement, you can increase. Then columns also you have to give. Rows equal to 3. Then columns in the form of vertically it will count. That means the word by word it will count. And you can give the columns may be 10 or 12 in the sentence. How many words may be there? Okay, that many columns you can give. Then that is what, it's a text area. Then coming to the password, password is nothing but what's the difference between text box and the password. Whatever you will enter into the text box, that is user id and all, it will be visible. Whatever you will type, anybody can see. But it's a password, it will be in the hidden format, okay, it will be in the bulleted format. So that we call it as the password. Input type equal to password. If you use this, whatever you will type inside that, for this also you will get the text box only, but you can't see the data what the user is entering. So that is what type equal to password. Then for this also you can give some name, you can give some unique id and all. Why you have to go with the ids, what is the reason behind that? because suppose whatever you are entering, and suppose I have entered one password or you have entered some username, so I need to verify that what you have entered is correct or not. Suppose if it is an username, you are not following the rules. Suppose you are simply entering the numbers inside that box, so that is not the correct way. So at that time, what you have to verify that whether the user has followed the rules or not. Otherwise, suppose you want to take the data, I have to retrieve the data. Suppose five input boxes are there. For one is for name, one is for father name, mother name. So many input boxes. Even user entered the data into that. Then how to check the how to take only the student name in that out of 10 text boxes, how to retrieve the data. So if you give the unique id for each text box, then that will be easy to access the data. Then here then it is a search boxes also you can give. So search boxes input type equal to search in the sense. So if you in many document you have already seen, in many website you have seen, suppose if it is n number of pages, n number of documents we have, so many pages of document we have, so I need to search something. So you need to enter some word for searching purpose. If that is the case, what you need to give, you have to, I want to create one search box, so that time you need to go with this input type equal to search. Then it is an email, then input type equal to email. See, if you create the normal text box also, you can, if you enter the email id, it will take. But what is the difference between text box and the email ID? So email box and the text box. So that is what here in this text box also, if you enter the email ID, it will take. But what is the advantage? In some cases you have observed that is in the text box, if you put a cursor over there, if you put a cursor on the text box, it will mention what format you need to follow. Some example they will show in the sense abc at gmail.com, means you have to fill in the same format, that notification you will get. So by saying that, I will understand. So okay, I have to give the email ID in this format. Okay, like that, we will get in if you use the input type equal to email. But if it is a text box, normal text box, whatever you give, if it is email ID is required, that time if you are giving one word also, it will take. So that notification you will not get. So that is what the difference between. Then telephone is telephone number. See what the numbers, in which format you need to enter the numbers. Okay, that you will get it from input type equal to tel. Then url also the same thing. If you want to give some URL, and the path you need to enter. So what is the some browser also perform validation on submission. That time you need to give the URLs. So in which format you need to enter the URL. So that also you will get the notification if you put the cursor into that cursor on the input box. If you put that cursor, you will get the what? The notification. That means that some message to the that message I can see. Okay, this is what the format I need to